of the country, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, as he prepares to take the driver's seat in the affairs of the country, especially now that the presidential election has come and gone. Dateline today, we also look at the nature of elections in the country and the reactions of Nigerians to the acceptance speech of the president-elect, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. This is our package today, and it shall come your way after this hard news segment. I am Oluchi Amuda. Now, the hard news segments. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has said it will punish its officials, whether ad hoc or coalition personnel, who may have been involved in disrupting the conduct of the February 25 presidential and National Assembly elections. The Commission also noted that the past week's national elections, based on a number of issues that require immediate, medium, and long-term solutions. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu stated this in Abuja at a meeting with resident electoral commissioners, urging them to work harder to overcome the challenges experienced in the last election. Professor Yakubu stressed that all staff found to be negligent, whether they are regular or ad hoc officials, including coalition and returning officers, must not be involved in forthcoming elections. The chairman told the Rex that of immediate concern to the Commission is how the identified challenges could be addressed ahead of the concluding phase of the general election involving the largest number of constituencies, such as 28 state governorship election and 998 state houses of assembly seats. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has assured distribution of petrol as the country prepares for the governorship and state assembly elections slated for March 11. The NNPCL attributed fuel queues in Abuja and some parts of the country to restrictions on businesses and movement during the presidential and National Assembly elections. It said operations had resumed at the depot and trucks were being dispatched to various parts of the country. The Chief Corporate Communications Officer of the company, Mrs. Garuba Muhammad, said its latest update released recently showed a total of 21 billion liters of PMS in stock. Mr. Muhammad had said this represented 1.9 billion liters in all the land depot nationwide and 1.2 billion liters in marine vessels. He said it was equivalent to 36 days of sufficiency as of the 4th of this month. Mr. Mohammed, while reassuring Nigerians of a robust supply of EMS, said the NNPCL planned to close the month of March with about 2.8 billion liters, equivalent of 47 days of sufficiency. Osun State chapter of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has raised alarm on the alleged dangerous arms built up by the All Progressive Congress, APC, ahead of the House of Assembly election on Saturday, calling on the Inspector General of Police, Usman Al-Khali Baba, to urgently deploy resources to remove dangerous weapons in possession of thugs in service of the main opposition party in the state. The PDP, in a statement signed by its caretaker chairman, Dr. Akindele Adekunle, noted that the APC has become increasingly desperate, following what he described as its woeful performance in the last presidential National Assembly election, warning of a serious danger to the state and its people if the police chief failed to act in time. The wealth of experience garnered by the president-elect, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, over the years will assist him to paddle the canoe of Nigeria to attain greater heights. A legal expert, Mr. Wuni Yalabi, stated this after featuring on OSBC TV current affairs program Saturday Morning Treat, SMT. He described the president-elect as an ideal Democrat whose role in instituting and sustaining current political dispensation cannot be overemphasized. According to him, the judge concluded elections were conducted fairly enough to be regarded as free and credible, as he advised the aggrieved contestants to seek redress in the court of law without resorting to heating up the polity.
Every discerning mind and everyone who knows God sincerely must believe that our president-elect, Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu, is the one God has chosen for this period. Because those who are claiming that they are rigging, they did this, they did that, in this same country, in some part of this country, we saw underaged voting. Those people voted for some candidate. In some part of the country, we saw old women being assisted to thumbprint for a particular political party. That's part of the process. So now that we have had the results, we will know, the discerning mind should know the way to go. This is our president in waiting. Do you want to be in opposition? That's what will determine the way the next elections will go.
Meanwhile, public affairs analyst Dr. Marufu Ansani has admonished the incoming president, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, to demonstrate the same virtues displayed as former governor of Lagos State to change the fortunes of Nigeria. Dr. Ansani, who spoke on OSBC Current Affairs program Saturday morning, urged the president-elect to be careful of sycophants, saying those he knew before may now be the same when it comes to public functions. He stressed the need to prioritize education so as to discourage Nigerian youth from seeking shortcuts rather than hard work to wealth. He speaks.
Empowerment, economic empowerment of the youth should be #1 on the agenda. Some people may think that I will mention security first. If poverty reduces, automatically the level of security will improve. Yes. So poverty breeds insecurity, just like oppression breeds terrorism. So that's #1. #2, the critical infrastructure sector is very, very important. Transportation infrastructure, establishing or improving functional linkage between rural and urban areas, very, very important. So if we really want this economy to grow, one of the things that should be fundamental to the incoming president is integrated rural development. Many farm produces are wasting away every year because many of these villages cannot be accessed by road. So education sector should be improved on. Many of the graduates today, many of the students we have today, they are reluctant students of tertiary institution, and that is what is killing their morale, dampening their morale, that accounts for producing unemployable graduates, like many people will say. But despite that, our product, when they travel out of the country, so they galvanize another system. They put up very brilliant performance.
The chairman, Islamic Supreme Council, Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Saad Abubakar II, has called on the people to accept the recent election results and the leaders elected. The Sultan made a call in a speech delivered at the Aminu Kano Triangle in Dutse, the Jigawa state capital, during the coronation and presentation of staff of office ceremony of the new Emir of Dutse. Alhaji Saad Abubakar said, leadership is from Almighty Allah, given to whomever He wishes, at any time He wishes, and nobody to query Him or change what He did. According to him, there was an election recently. God Almighty did what He wishes. The chairman, Islamic Supreme Council, appealed to leaders to be justice and fair to their followers. He also called on politicians to encourage peace and stability, charging them to stop any act that would disrupt peace and any act that would cause any damages in the country. There is an air of uncertainty among deposit money banks as they await further instructions from the Central Bank of Nigeria over the recirculation of old 500 and 1,000 naira notes. The Supreme Court recently ordered that the old Naira notes should be allowed to circulate along with the new notes until December 31, 2023. When contacted, the Acting Director of Corporate Communications Department, CBN, Dr. Issa Abdulmumini, declined to comment on the issue. Meanwhile, deposit money banks have yet to communicate with their customers if the old 500 Naira and 1,000 Naira will be released into the economy, or the banks would only continue to release the new Naira notes based on availability. Similarly, millions of Nigerians who have been hit by severe cash crunch have expressed hope that cash will be available in the banks from Monday, noting that following the Apex Bank ruling, the CBN should expedite action in making cash, both old and new notes, available immediately. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has urged the Central Bank of Nigeria and other monetary authorities to de-emphasize monetary policy as a way of tackling the resurgence of inflation. In a new report titled Rethinking Monetary Policy in a Changing World, the Washington-based lender said the ability of central banks to set monetary policy and control the economy in more fraught times hinges on its independence. According to the report, the low interest rates and less extreme public debt levels have prevailed after the global crisis of 2008 permitted central banks to ignore what were then relatively non-consequential interactions between monetary and fiscal policy. It noted that as spending was increasing, countries were hit by supply shocks of unprecedented proportion, largely the result of pandemic-related problems such as supply chain disruptions, which added to inflation. You are welcome to our sports segments. We sincerely apologize for that mix-up. Yes, we'll now take the sports montage to introduce our sports segments. Gambia captain Alan Sen says the target of he and his teammate now is the 2023 Under-20 AFCON title. Gambia booked a place in the semi-finals of this year's tournament in Egypt after hammering South Sudan 5-0. Also, the victory against South Sudan wins Gambia's qualified for the 2023 FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Indonesia to realize their dream of a first ever Under-20 AFCON title. Gambia must go bat flying Eagles of Nigeria in the semi-finals tomorrow. The Flying Eagles bounce back from an opening day defeat to Senegal with win against host Egypt, Mozambique in group stage, and Uganda in the quarterfinals. Sen expressed delight that Gambia made it to the World Cup, stating that up next for the team is the Under-20 AFCON title. Gambia have never played in the final of the Under-20 AFCON in their history. Meanwhile, the other semi-final will see Senegal take on Tunisia. And on the foreign scene, United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, Vonia Turks, has expressed support for the restoration of civilian rule and transition to democracy in Sudan, following the country's military coup in October 2021. Turk, while giving an update to the Human Rights Council in Geneva, said new efforts needed to restore civilian rule and transition to democracy in the country. The UN rights chief highlighted the death of a 17-year-old demonstrator shot by a police officer in the Shark Arin area of the country According to the report, the case is one of 125 deaths since protests began over 16 months ago, noting that 1 in 5 of whom have been children under the age of 18. The ongoing violence has been led by opponents of the coup, which ended a power-sharing agreement between military and civilian leaders. We now go on a short break. Dateline continues. Welcome back to Dateline proper. Residents of Okeayepe, Costain, Arogumasa, and Beja areas in Osogbo are now heaving a sigh of relief as Governor Ademola Adeleke fulfills his pledge to fix the road leading to the areas from Okeayepe Junction along Ojoba Road. Governor's Office correspondent Abdulrahim Adekileko went back to see if the project has commenced and other engagements of the governor in the immediate past week. Here are his findings.
The Federal Commissioner of National Population Commission, Senator Mudashiru Hussein, the State Director, Mr. Olawale Oweye, and other management members of the Commission, Osun State Governor, Senator Ademola Adeleke, commended the Commission for the preparations towards the 2023 population census, from training to recruitment of ad hoc staff. He said the nation must get the exercise right, going by the controversies surrounding the history of national census in Nigeria.
The census is critical for national planning. Accurate census help governments to meet the needs of the people, infrastructures and services. The history of the national census in Nigeria is controversial. We must get it right. Let me urge the Commission to ensure error-free national headcount accuracy is the key to acceptability of the outcome of the census.
The governor urged the Commission to embrace tech application in national census, saying that accuracy can be enhanced when appropriate technologies are deployed.
For us in Osun State, we pledge our commitment to mobilize our people for the exercise. I use this opportunity to call on Osun residents to participate fully, just like general and state election. Getting counted during the census is a national civic responsibility.
Earlier in his address, the Federal Commissioner of National Population Commission, Senator Mudashiru Hussein, said the visit was necessary to intimate the governor about the constitutional rules of generating data for national growth, planning and development. He said the commission spent 2.5 years to carry out the enumeration area demarcation using digital sensor to prevent manipulation. According to him, the commission has effected many changes in the personnel and logistics to enable it to build on the previous exercise. He called for observation of a minute silence in honor of the first executive governor of Osun State, Senator Isiaka Adetunji Adeleke, whom he described in various glowing terms. Senator Hussein said the agency is ready for the national headcount that comes up between March 29 and April 4, 2023.
Since 2018, we embarked on trainings of functionaries called EAD. EAD means Enumeration Area Demarcation, where we divided the larger units of the land, of the entire land, into smaller units, so that the people that we are using will be able to do their job diligently. And moreover, the functionaries of today are very, very different from other years. In other years, we have less training, but this time around, we have a huge training from analog to digital. So we have so many young people who are literate compliance.
Barely a week after his swearing in as the 6th executive governor of Osun State, Senator Ademola Adeleke paid an unscheduled inspection visit to John Mackay Anglican Primary School, Okeayepe area, to have a first-hand information on the state of the road and the school located in the area. To access the school, the governor trekked for about a kilometer due to the poor condition of the road. In a chat with the residents and leadership of the school, Senator Adeleke promised to fix the road as part of the project to commemorate the first 100 days of his administration in office. A visit to the road by OSBC News revealed that the residents and passers-by in the area are already seeing the proverbial green light and heaving a sigh of relief with the reconstruction of the road that will go from Ayekwe Junction along Ojaoba Road to Okeabesu along Ona Baba Ona. Speaking with our news crew, Mrs. Alao Ganiyat, a business owner in the area, said the bad state of the road has wreaked unquantifiable damage on their business activities. She said she has been in the area for about 10 years of bad road experience.
Not at all. We are not even enjoying this road at all. Even we are all, everybody in radio and television. So most people just complain, and the government didn't even know. Maybe there's somewhere is Ayekwe but we really appreciate Mr. Gomino. Ní tí gbogbo ayé ń sọ ni pé oníjó lẹ fẹ́ dìbò fún oníjó, àmọ́ gbà dìbò fún àwa really appreciate pé wọ́n tún wúlò gan ju àwọn tí wọn kì í jó mọ́lẹ̀ lọ.
Mr. Olalekan Sulaiman, Dickiness Bolaji Adefioye, Ms. Ayomide Akeremi, and Master Agbola Sodiq all expressed happiness at the ongoing reconstruction of the road, saying that socio-economic activities will now resume in the areas.
We hear from this road because this road has spoiled beyond recognition, as you can see. And the governor came here sometimes ago that he will construct this road for them. I thought the headmistress of this would go to his office.
The governor just came on inspection.
Okay, unexpected. That's good. And this is it. They have been doing it now. They have started doing it. So we need to praise him. I think it's part of his 100 days in office. So he's doing a very, very good job.
Bá dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run fẹ́ tí ìjọba ń bá wa ṣe lọ́wọ́, kò sì ní ṣe é lé, Ọlọ́run bá wa mú dúró. Ẹ wò ní ìsìn mo manage lọ church ni, torí ojú ọ̀nà ó lè hún di irú ọjọ́ orí mi. So mo àǹfààní torí àlàáfíà ọjọba, gbogbo àwọn ọlọ́jà ọmọ ta. Ìmọ̀ràn mi fún àwọn ènìyàn ni pé ìbò tá a fẹ́ dì í pàápàá lọ́sùn yìí ó káàdì fún PDP. Èmi ìṣòṣèlú o, mi ìjókòó òṣèlú rí. Ṣùgbọ́n àǹfààní wọn à ń jẹ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ báyìí láì tí ìpòsù mẹ́ta yìí.
We are happy about it. Even all the people are happy because they knew if it's good, it's going to benefit to some of us.
This road is very, very bad. Even that's there. That's just there. Tí mọ́tò bá fẹ́ kọjá àwọn ọ̀kadà, ní máa kó. Yeah, no.
With the reconstruction work ongoing, residents of the area are happy that Senator Ademola Adeleke is indeed a God-sent man. It has been Abdurrahim Adekilekun reporting for Dateline.
Congratulations to the people of the area. Now moving ahead, the promises made by the president-elect, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, during his acceptance speech, and after he received a certificate of return from INEC, have been described as timely, going by the political tension that seemed to have engulfed the country as a result of the election. Those who spoke with Dateline while reacting to the speeches urged the president-elect to walk the talk when he eventually takes his official position as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria come May 29. Dateline puts together the responses of Nigerians on the issue. Elections in Nigeria have always been a hard contest that spring up all sorts of emotions from various supporters of the different political parties who employ all forms of tactics to show solidarity with their party and sell their candidates. The recently conducted Presidential National Assembly election is a case study of how some members and supporters of political parties, most especially on the social media, wrote and posted stories that showed how divisive the country can descend based on religion and ethnicity lines. The tension transcended into the election and became more tensed when election results were not announced on time. However, at midnight of the third day after the election, INEC chairman finally announced the presidential candidate of All Progressives Congress, APC, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, winner of the election.
Tinubu Bola Ahmed of the APC, 8,794,726. Obi Peter Gregory of the LP, 6,101,533. Musa Mohammed Rabiu Kwankwaso of the NNPP, 1,496,687. Abubakar Atiku of the P520. Tinubu Bola Ahmed of the APC, having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared the winner and is returned elected.
Shortly after he was announced as the winner of the highly contested presidential election, the president-elect, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, made a speech that was believed to have doused the tension the country had been engulfed in as a result of the poll. The president-elect, who acknowledged his co-contestants and promised an all-inclusive government, maintained that he will be a servant leader who will meet the yearnings and aspirations of the populace.
My standing out here is to talk to fellow Nigerians that I am profoundly humbled that you have elected me to serve as the 16th president of our beloved country. This is a shining moment in the life of any man and affirmation of our democratic existence. From my heart, and truly from my heart, I say thank you very much. This is a serious mandate. I hereby accept it to serve you, be your servant, and not be your leader, to work with you and make Nigeria a great country.
Similarly, the second speech, which came shortly after he received his certificate of return from INEC, also reinforced his determination to make the interest of the youth top priority. Asiwaju Tinubu's speech touched on economy, youth, job creation, insecurity, education, among others, where he promised a renewed hope for Nigerians.
Our destiny as a people and a nation depend on our ability to share the artificial restrictions of bias and prejudice so that we live fully onto our democratic creed, that no one is innately superior or entitled to greater rights and opportunities than any other Nigerian. To you, the people, especially the youth, I will work day and night. I will work to the utmost best of my ability to make Nigeria better.
Reacting to this, one of the election observers, Otumba Obafewushola, noted that no election is perfect all over the world and enjoined the citizens to come together for the development of the country, advising Nigerians to put the country first in every decision they take.
The election has come, and I happen to be an observer in this election. So far, so good. This is the most peaceful election we ever have in Nigeria, to my own knowledge.
Speaking in the same vein, another election observer, Pastor Shola Akande, maintained that the speeches are embedded with promises of hope, which the country is in dire need of at this auspicious time.
I also noticed that consistently in the speech, he was mentioning that he could hear the youth loud and clear. And also, he also appealed to the opposition. One could see that he actually chose his words. He said
that he observed that not very many people voted for him, he could understand what that means. And by that, you know, he wants to run an inclusive government. So my appeal is that those that are in opposition, election has come and gone, especially the presidential election. So Nigeria now should be seen as one. So, and we shouldn't see ourselves as being from one tribe or the other.
In their separate reactions, public affairs commentators, including Dr. Yinka Andrews and Dr. Olurotimi Fadbule, stated that all sectors of the country need serious attention, especially in the areas of combating insecurity headlong, revamping the economy and fighting inflations, fixing electricity issue, and attending to the infrastructure decay, which will help in encouraging local manufacturers and provide employment opportunities for the teeming youth. They admonished the president-elect, Asiwaju Tinubu, to back his promises with action and fix the country for the betterment of all.
The first thing we expect him to do is to turn around the fortune of Nigeria that affects everything, including economy. That is called fiscal federalism. How do I mean? As it used to be in the first republic, when each state, let's call it each state, I don't want to say each region, sit atop what God has given it. Once he does that, every other thing will fall in place, including economy. That's on one side. Two, let him try to address this issue of cashless. There's nothing wrong with cashless. It is the way it is being promulgated, the way it is being put down. The process towards it is highly political. It should hold on to cashless policy, but remove the political aspect of it. For example, as I speak now, kobo that is cash I don't have on me. To make sure that he empowers people by making sure there's power supply. If there's no power supply, it kills the economy. Let him see whatever he could do to make power to stay. Then finally, let us make sure that we see what we can do to empower the youth. Let us create employment. It should not be public service. That's why I suggested the entrepreneurship the other time. Let's see whatever we can do to encourage people. He mentioned something which I love. He said education, not that it will be free, but each student can access education funding through loans, maybe 1 or 2%. I want him to do that.
Let us wait and see what type of magic the president-elect will use to do what is promising. And apart from that, it's not the first person that will promise such. Politicians will promise and they will never fulfill. Look at what is happening to everybody now. Everybody is having problems economically. To eat is a problem. You have money in the bank, you can't get it. No cash, no fuel, no food. God will help us.
The respondents also advised the citizenry to be patient, adding that the challenges confronting the nation are too numerous and may not likely disappear within a twinkle of an eye, saying that it will be a gradual process. Yes, we say congratulations to the president-elect, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. And still on elections matter, elections in Nigeria have always been a keenly contested affairs. Politicians and political parties always employ all arsenals to either retain power or grab it at all costs. Many have lost their lives in the process and probably worth millions of naira destroyed to election-related violence. The question, should election be a do or die affair? Dateline reporter Oluwatobiloba Odunuga put together views of Nigerians on the issue in this Dateline report.
The definition of democracy is that it is the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Periodic elections are the only way the citizens of a nation are ever able to demonstrate their will any way they desire as part of their civic responsibilities. In societies Where people are in tune with the ethos of democracy, elections are the brightest moment in the lives of the citizenry. The case is seen to be different in Nigeria, as election manipulation and violence have become so prevalent in democratic dispensation in Nigeria, such that the social, political, and economic powers of those involved have made it both national and international concern. Oftentimes, it is said to be a coercive and deliberate strategy used by political actors, incumbents, as well as opposition parties to advance their interest or achieve specific political goals in relation to an electoral contest. Speaking with OSBC News, a political analyst, Alhaji Tunde Sanusi, said the contest for political power in Nigeria is extremely fierce, adding that it is not so much for the love of the country, but for the power, since political power is tantamount to the control, usurpation, and unlimited access to lots of funds and resources. Alhaji Sanusi stated further that in Nigeria, electoral contests are seen as a do-or-die affair, where contestants employ fair and foul means to win, which ordinarily shouldn't be, enjoining all contestants to learn how to accept defeat and move on in order to make Nigeria a peaceful nation.
Election is not a do-or-die affair. In this country, we used to forget two things. There's what we call destiny. Our politicians, we need to be very careful. And I'm recommending for this country, maximum of 4 political parties and minimum of 2 political parties. Supposed to be. All other political parties it's just a sample. It's not a surprise because any house that divides against itself is going to fall. Why can't we think? We need to think. Election is not a do-or-die affair. Let us accept what has come. It has come. And what is going to be, it has going to be. This election is based on destiny.
In his own submission, a public affairs analyst, Dr. Soji Akipelu, maintained that political operators have seen the election period as a time to put the country in chaos, noting that election violence can never in any way add to the growth of the nation's democratization process. Dr. Akipelu stated further that elections should be a time for people to speak with their vote, and after which the election result must have been announced by the electoral body. The other contestants who must have lost should be able to go back to their drawing board to re-strategize for the next contest.
God has really done well for Nigeria. God has helped us. It's a very, very good election. In fact, I'm economical with marks, but I'm going to score this election 80%. What we did during the presidential and the National Assembly election. Well, politicians will never agree that they won't contest an election. But I don't know, those who want to contest the results of this election, I don't know what they are contesting. People have spoken. And the way election should be, like we say, should be like a game. Should not be a do-or-die affairs. Because people have spoken. There was no election buy. There was no buying of voters. There was no money anywhere. And I will advise that people should accept the result of the election. And they should cooperate with the President of Nigeria, cooperate with the National Assembly members that have won. They should cooperate with them. And we should pray for Nigeria. We should pray for the President to do the right thing in Nigeria. Because a lot of things have gone wrong. But like I said, God can change things over.
Meanwhile, elections in Nigeria have continued to improve each year with the adoption of technology by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and the increased awareness of the average Nigerian voters. However, many believe that lots still needs to be done about the mentality of the average Nigerian voter and Nigerian politician. Oluwa Tobiloba Odunuga for Dateline.
Many thanks to you, Oluwa Tobiloba Odunuga. And let's have that in mind. Election is not a do-or-die affair. And that was our package for today on Dateline. It was produced by Batunde Bolatito, assisted by Abdul Jalil Adebisi. Abiodun Larry is the executive producer, and Akiola Owolabe is the editorial advisor. My name is Oluchi Amuda, saying good night.
Why do you hate him so much?
I don't hate him.
Yes, I am.
Yes, you're back. You're back. You still remember the song again?
Yes, Bobby.
Akande mama deo. Akande mama deo. Bomi ni koko. Bomi ọbẹ̀ kaná. Akande.
For the way to entertain that special person, look no further than StarTime's Valentine Boost offer. To enjoy this offer, recharge 1 month on Nova Basic or Smart Bouquet and get an instant next upper bouquet. Recharge on Classic or Super Bouquet and get 3 days extra. With thousands of juicy content to choose from, you and your Valentine can enjoy watching the latest movies and shows on ST Nollywood Plus, gripping series on Star Life and ST Novella E+, news on 2023 elections, live Copa del Rey and Rivers United in the CAF Confederation Cup, and more. Also, selected couples will be having a special dinner with the Proud Times brand ambassador, Femi Adebayo. Get upgraded today. Promo runs from February 10 to 28. Terms and conditions apply. So this Valentine's month, show your love with StarTimes.
Ààrẹ jáde bò wá. Fún Timothy owó ẹ̀yẹ lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí láti lọ ṣojú wa fún Nation East nílé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin. Ọmọ wa ni òun ló lè ṣe. Àtọmọdé àtàgbà náà pariwo Tìmó lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí torí ọ̀rọ̀ dáṣáṣá lẹ́nu ẹ̀ nílé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin. Ó yá ẹ jẹ́ ká jáde o.
Ẹ̀yin ènìyàn wa gbogbo níjọba ìbílẹ̀ Iléṣà East, ẹ ṣeun fún àtìlẹyìn yín. Àmọ̀rírì yín o, ẹ wá gbọ́ o, ẹ má ṣe fòyà, ẹ jáde ní kẹ̀tíkẹ̀tí lọ dìbò fún ọmọ yín, àbúrò yín àti ọ̀rẹ́ yín tẹ́ ẹ nífẹ̀ẹ́ sí láti lọ ṣojú yín. Honourable Timothy Adigun Owóẹ̀yẹ, abẹnugan ilé-ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́. Ẹni iwájú ni wá nílẹ̀ Ìjẹ̀ṣà, ẹ dìbò fún Timothy Owóẹ̀yẹ lọ́jọ́ 11 oṣù kẹta ọdún yìí láti ṣojú Iléṣà East State Constituency lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí. Pẹ̀lú ìrànlọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run àti ìbò rẹ̀, ó ti ṣeé ṣe. Ọ̀rọ̀ ilé aṣòfin kì í ṣe jẹ́kíńjẹ. Ìrírí lágbà. Ìpolongo yìí wá láti ọwọ́ Tìmótúpẹ̀ campaign team.
ABC.
Black Wall Street. Osun, it don't happen. Black Wall Street Africa,
in conjunction with OSBC,
don't show with Osun Easter Mega Jams, the ogre of them all. Ogbonge artists like Atawewe Sule, Emperor Ade, P-Red, Shinorambo, Lil Cash, Clever J, DT, Poppy Wizzy, Sanyeri, Alaria, Dr. Bengu,
Danny S, and Styling Brother,
and plenty other person go tanda there that day. Date na April 9, 2023. Venue, Oshogbo City Stadium. Time na 2 p.m. Gate fee 500 naira for students with ID card, 1K for any other person. You fit get your ticket for Rev FM, OSBC, supermarket them, plus including higher institutions them for Osun State. You fit still get them for gate for that day. You want get more information? May you green 070.